This video will tell you about the volume and the surface area of a sphere. So that first of all, I will tell you some terms about the spheres, and then I will give you some rough ideas why we will have such formulas. Actually, if you just apply the formula to calculate some questions, it is not so difficult. You can just put in the suitable values and then you can get the answers. But why you have that formulas, this is a little bit difficult. So that we should spend some time to explain why we will have such formula. If you don't want to understand or you find it too difficult, you can just follow the examples to calculate the suitable values. So let's start. Okay, so first of all, just want to say that for half of a sphere, we have a name that is called the hemispheres, and actually just a name. And then we will have two formulas actually for all shapes or solids. We concern two things. One is the volume and the second is the surface area. So that for the volume, the sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed, and this is not so difficult for you to memorize. And okay, so that we can move on to tell you some ideas why we will have such formulas. Okay, here is the rough idea about the volume. This time I have a cone for the base radius r and the height is r, and I have the hemisphere. Okay, let me just write down. There is the hemisphere and the radius. Oops, can't erase. Okay, here for the hemisphere, the radius still is the radius equals to r, so that actually you can just think of it. I just give you the examples here. You can just think of it this time for the top, the vertex, actually there's just 1 point, and for the hemisphere there is the whole surface, so that you can combine to it and then you can get the surface here. And for the base, you can think of it this time. For the base of the cone, you can get a whole circle, and actually for the base of the hemisphere, just a point, so that it combines still equals to a surface, to a circle. And so that actually for the same level, this time you can find that the space or the area of this, you can just combine it as a circle with radius out, so that if you understand the volume of the cone, okay, so that I just write down this time volume for the cone, which is 1/3 pi r square. We want to know that the volume of the hemisphere V, and we know that the volume of the cylinder just pi r squared, the base radius times the height, so that you can just think of it. This time I can get the formula. This time I know that if I just add the volume of the cone and the volume of the hemisphere, I can obtain the volume should be the volume of the cylinder, so that I can write down the V should be pi r cubed minus 1/3 pi r cubed, that is 2/3 pi r cubed, so that we can understand this time volume of the sphere with radius r. What is that equals? That is just the 2 times v. So that is 2, here, 2 over 3 pi r cubed. So that we can obtain the formula 4 over 3 pi r cubed. And actually, this is not difficult for you to memorize, but why we have such formula? This is a little bit difficult. So that just hope you to not only memorize the formula, you know a little bit why we can have that formula. And okay, about the idea of the surface area here. So that this time I just let you to look at here. This time I can have a sphere, very rough sphere here. And you know that this time the radius, okay, I just make use of blue. If this is the center, you know that the radius should be out. Actually, you can just think of it this time for the we want to find the surface area, so that we can decompose. The idea should be we can decompose the sphere into many pyramids. Okay, why I can say that? I can just let you know, for example, this time I can split that into one part, and you know that this time you can get you can say a cone or pyramid. And this time I have a second part. This is A1, this is A2. And for the second part, you know that just equals again for the base area A2, and the height is out, so that I can just follow the ideas. I have so many parts, and if there's an n part, okay, actually for each part, you know that, okay, I use green to write down the ideas for each part, which is A1, A2, and so on. Base area equals A1, and so on, and the height equals R. So that actually I can just make use of that to write down, you know, the sum of all pyramid. Okay, I write better, sum of the volume of the pyramids. And you can just think of that, since I want to decompose the sphere into many pyramids. Okay, put S here, and you know that actually that's just the volume of the sphere. And then I can just write down this time for each part. I know the base area should be, for example, the first part is A1. Okay, for there's an n part, I just write down the total formula should be this, and then I just take out all the things. Okay, so that finally I can just combine this, that is the surface area, and I just call it A, so that you can think of it this time 1/3 A times R should be 4 over 3 pi R cubed, so that after the simplification I can cancel out 1/3, cancel out one of the R, so that I can obtain the total surface area should be 4 pi r squared. Okay, so that is just give you one rough idea for either the volume and the surface area. Okay, so we can just move on to the examples in your notes. Hope you can understand. Okay, so that just for first example, we want to find the volume of the sphere, and you can just apply the formula. This time you know the volume should be 4/3 pi the cube of the radius, so that I can just calculate the result. And you can find that there is 288 pi cm cube. That's for the first example. Just put in the formula and you can find the answer. And okay, for the second example, again, just put in the formula. Actually, for the calculation, not difficult. You have to just memorize the formula and you can obtain the answer. Okay, so the result should be 196 pi cm, not cm, this time this meter square. Okay, so that's the all examples for that notes. So that hope you can not only understand how to put in the values, make use of the formulas to find the answers. You can just understand some ideas for why we will have such formulas. Okay, hope you understand and look at more examples to get the more understanding about this session.